Welcome to this week's market drama. We'll begin with the S&P 500, which was down 1.7% for the week. S&P is now up 2.2% for the year. Nasdaq was down even more, down 2.5% for the week. It is up now 1.1% for the year, so it's lagging the broader market. So what happened this week? Well, in fact, we started the week, it's a shortened week here in the US, and we started with markets reaching near all-time highs on Tuesday and on Wednesday. So the sell-off really began on Thursday, and the trigger was Walmart reported earnings. Their guidance for sales was lower than expected, and investors read that into a macro view that maybe the U.S. consumers not in as great shape as originally expected, and that does collaborate with the prior week's retail sales report, which showed some weakness. So that really was what drove the markets lower. You got to remember that earlier in the week, there was some optimism as well on a resolution of the Russian or Ukraine war. The beneficiaries of that story really ended up being European equities, which disproportionately are more affected by what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Nonetheless, that was kind of part of the rally story Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday, Walmart earnings definitely kind of threw cold water into the markets. The broader story here is that this year, the sectors that are driving returns are actually not technology. So far, energy, healthcare, communication services are the ones that are outperforming versus sectors like technology are underperforming. Consumer discretionary underperforming. Consumer discretionary in particular makes sense if people all of a sudden are worried about the U.S. consumer not being in as great shape. It's always right. One data point does not make a trend, so we'll have to continue to see the data in the coming weeks. Next week we have PCE inflation data, which is a really important data point, considering is one that the Fed watches very closely to get a gauge on where inflation is here in the U.S. and globally. That is it for this week. Stay tuned for next week.